Welcome to day three. Day three is actually the day where kind of the rubber starts to meet the road because day one was clear, day two was connect, and day three is create, which is where we want to be when we're writing a book. We want to be in that creative, juicy, wonderful, yes, I can do this kind of space. And hopefully, the first 2 days, the clearing and all the connecting got you into that place. And if not, if you're not feeling like you're there yet, like I totally, totally get you. I'm basically trying to take you through a process in 5 days that took me 3 or 4 years. So, there's no way to like cheat the journey. There's no, it's so easy to kind of get caught up in like, oh, this will help me get there faster. It's like there's this just, we all want to get there faster. And I know I do. Maybe you're totally good with like the calm, easy, everything happens in divine timing, but I really struggle with that one sometimes. So anyway, all that is to say, if stuff is kicking up or you're like, do I have intuition because I'm not feeling it, it's fuzzy, I don't know, I don't get it, wherever you are is perfect. Wherever you are is great. And again, I encourage you to always come to the Facebook group and, bring up anything that's being bumpy for you or that you have questions about. And like, either I or maybe somebody else, if if somebody shows up with a question that you have the answer to, go for it, please. It's everybody there is, very bright, very connected, very, has their light. So yeah, whatever your experience has been to this point is great. It's all just part of, what you need to get to your gorgeous, your gorgeous book and your work in the world. And, often the darkest, bumpiest spots are what give us the most juice and the most to create with. And just it's really, even if it sucked in the middle of it, it's what we look back on and go, God, that was exactly what I needed. That was exactly perfect. So anyway, day three, create. So I think what we're going to do is, I think I'll share the little mini process that I use when I sit down. I don't always use this. I don't always remember. Sometimes I'm like, yes, I'm ready to go. I need no processes. And sometimes I sit down, I'm like, nope, not feeling it yet. So what I do is just sort of the mini version of clear, connect, create. If I'm sitting down, I'm like, I'd really rather make some tea and maybe watch some TV for a while. Or if it's been hard for me to sit down at my computer and sit down to my writing for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, whatever it is. Usually what I have found is that for me, that means there's an emotion that I need to pay attention to. There is something that needs to be cleared. Because when I am clear, when like the channel is open and the vessel is like all clean, then I'm excited to work. I'm excited to sit down. I have all of these ideas. I'm, really just looking for a few hours to be able to spend with whatever it is I'm working on. So, sometimes procrastination is, sometimes that actually is Spirit's way of saying, hey, it's actually not the right time for you yet. So, go do something else, go live your life, go, do whatever. But, often procrastination is just, you need to clear something out. So the mini process, sit down at your computer. Like, all right, here's my project. How do I feel about this? I don't want to write it. Okay, there's probably some emotion. So, it's a really simple process. It's just like, okay, so what do I need to pay attention to today? What do I need to feel today? What is in my body that needs to be released? And so you just sort of, you run an internal scan on yourself, and you see, like, is there a constriction somewhere? Is there, when I tap in, am I feeling sadness over, something that's happened recently, or something that happened a very long time ago and it's just showing up now for whatever reason? And then you just say, okay, I see you, and, I feel you. And, is now an okay time for me to write? And see what your answer is. See, because maybe what you really need to do, what would best serve your writing, is to take that sadness and feel it for half an hour. Feel it for, the hour you said you were going to spend writing. I know that this goes, this is contrary to pretty much every other piece of advice that's out there, but I really deeply believe this. If there's something that's showing up for you, it really does need to be cleared before you want to write. Or alternatively, if it's like, yes, I am sad, but yes, it is really time for me to write now, what you can do is just sort of ask, okay, sadness, emotion, whatever you are, I see you, I acknowledge you, and can we do this later? I promise that before I go to bed tonight, we will spend half an hour together. And, I'm even going to put an alarm in my phone that says, feel feelings, 8 p.m., click, alarm set. And then, often we'll be like, all right, cool, thanks, see you at our date. And then, space is cleared. So you don't have to actually be in this prime state of clear joy to write every single time. You just have to kind of acknowledge it and say, you know what, we're going to do this later because it really is time for me to write now. So you clear either by feeling all the way through something or saying, all right, I'm going to do this a little bit later. The only thing I caution you to do is actually feel it later, because otherwise it's just going to keep coming up every day that you sit down. So you might as well just, hang out with it. Don't keep trying to reschedule. So then you connect in and you say, all right, what is ready to come through today? If you're at the beginning of a project, you can just ask, all right, I ask that this begin in the perfect way for the highest good of all, and I'm ready to receive whatever's ready to come through now. Or if you're in the middle of a project and you need, you'd set today to finish chapter 3, it's just all right, I would like to finish, if it's in the highest good, I would like to finish chapter 3 today. So please send it through my fingers. I have an hour and a half. Let's do this thing. And, see what shows up. See how it works. Again, just really taking your mind out of it and not thinking about, oh, I hope it's good, or I don't know if my editor is going to like the chapter I just wrote, wherever, whatever your brain is trying to do for you, whatever it's trying to say to you, just kind of I hear you, thank you, and I don't need you right now. You can go take a little vacation, go to the Bahamas for an hour and enjoy yourself, and I'll just be here writing. Because especially in the first draft, in the first, when you're really just taking the stories and taking your soul and putting it onto the page, you don't want to judge your soul, you don't want to judge your stories like that, after everything has come out, then then you and an editor can really kind of dig in and be like, what really serves the story, what doesn't, but now is not the time for that. Now is just the time to be like, all right, I am open, I am ready, what is here for me today, what is showing up, and maybe, chances are it's been showing up for you for a couple of days, in the shower, you're like, oh, this is what it's going to be, this is what I'm going to write, or you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, I've got it, I know, what story I'm going to tell today. So, this process may not always be necessary, but it really, and sometimes allow yourself to be surprised. Maybe you think that it's time to write chapter 3, but what ends up coming out is a personal essay about something that happened to you 2 years ago, or for example, I sat down yesterday to begin, channeling my second book, and I have these ideas of what that book is going to be, and what showed up was completely different, and I have no idea what it was. I still don't know. It was like a page of, I thought it was cool, but I have no idea what it's going to be. So, so you do want to allow yourself to be surprised. You don't want to, we're artists and creators and writers, and, maybe chapter 3 has to get written tomorrow because today you're starting something new. Just really kind of be in your flow and be open to your own process and be open to what wants to come through you today, because, the more we can just get out of our own way and allow it to flow through, you know, the more we're kind of amazed by what we can create. So give that a try today. You know, if you have a project in mind, you know, sit down with the intent to begin or work on that project and kind of play with that process and, you know, iterate it in whatever way feels good to you. Like, trust your own intuition. Your intuition is always right. You don't have to listen to me or anyone else, really. Like, trust yourself. But yeah, sit down and see what comes. You know, whether you have 5 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, just play with this and see what you can get written today. All right. Yay! See you tomorrow.